Anyway, Alice tries to introduce herself as the Queen of Team Heart, but that earns her laughter, probably because it's a meaningless title for my competition. I once won a game of Pretty Pretty Princess. Does that mean that I get to call myself an actual princess from here on out? Hello and welcome to Contation Points Video Snark. If you came here because you thought that this was an audiobook, please stick around and maybe learn some reading and listening comprehension skills. I read books, discuss what went wrong and how they can possibly be fixed. I'm continuing my read-through of The Looking Glass Illusion by Sara Ella. Not the first video, go check out the others, links are posted below. Chapter 25. As they leave the area, Alice can't help but note that Maddie and Jack seem to be getting rather cozy. They look content, happy, as if they haven't a care in all of Wonderland and this is simply another trial season. Maybe this is simply me, but Maddie has always felt awkwardly out of place this entire novel. Well, everybody is, but this line simply rubs me the wrong way. Alice is over here practically fighting for her life. Meanwhile, Maddie is treating the entire thing like a 3-hour pleasure cruise. They continue on and Alice wonders why Chess won't hold her hand. She also wonders what was up between the Shire brothers last night. That Chess had been so desperate to find his brother yet acted like he couldn't care less about the entire thing upon actually being reunited with him. Alice begs Chess to ask her about finding Kit, so Chess asks. Why she couldn't have simply started to tell him is beyond me, but whatever. So she tells him about everything. But as she does so, she realizes that Chess seems withdrawn and disinterested, even with her. Which I kind of agree is odd, since loving Alice has been pretty much his entire personality trait. I want the real Cheshire back. My problem is, what exactly is Chess's actual personality? Because, as I said a second ago, his sole personality trait has been obsessing over Alice. So she asks him what's going on, and then takes a stab in the dark and asks if it's about the truth of his grandmother. Chess says that he had no idea, and that he honestly thought that he was helping Alice when he told her to trust Dina. And that part I do believe. He wouldn't intentionally hurt Alice. He goes on to say that he knew that Dina was close with the Quarterheads, that they have a lot of trust in her because she, and I quote, is one of the oldest wonders. This seems to be something of value to the two of them, but it's honestly a little lost on me. They mention something that I think happened in the first book, but I've since forgotten about it. And honestly, if the author can't be bothered to refresh the memories of the readers, then it's obviously not that important, despite the fact that it is. Ugh, who approved this for publication? Alice flips through the almanac and gets increasingly frustrated that she can't find it. She leaves the book in the hands of her friends, and Chess tries to calm her down. He tells her that she knows this story already, and that if she doesn't, then it clearly isn't important. She then realizes that there's a golden gate not too far away. They overlooked it because it's magic, and if you look at the zoom spot from literally any angle but one, you won't be able to see it at all. They go over, surprised to see it. Alice tries the gate, but it's obviously locked. She knocks and is surprised when they hear voices from the other side. The gate opens, but instead of having humans, they're flowers. The flowers ask what kind of flower that the group of them are, but instead Maddie says that they are, and I quote, genus humanus. I'm not touching that. The flowers, Calla and Bud, ask them for a key, that they won't let them through the gate without it. Alice plays her Misa necklace, but that's not the key for this area. She knows that they could push past the flowers, but that it won't get them any closer to uncovering Catherine's looking glass clue. Alex asks for a hint as to what kind of key that they're looking for. The flowers describe a human that sounds suspiciously like Catherine to Alice and says that this strange flower left behind a clue, but they refuse to show it to them. She then says that she's a wildflower and shows them her invitation for the trials. The flowers are befuddled over this and agree to take this to show to their mother to see if it's good enough for them to pass through or not. Chapter 26. Chess complains that going through the gate doesn't feel right, which I think is laughable considering that they're literal children being trained up to fight a war that his own grandmother basically started. Literally nothing about any of the trials has been right, but his gut is suddenly telling him that this is the part that isn't good. Anyway, they spend literally half a freaking page walking into what turns out to be a throne room. There we're introduced to Rose and Lily, the red and white flower queens. It's like the author has never once understood a metaphor in her life. Anyway, Alice tries to introduce herself as the Queen of Team Heart, but that earns her laughter, probably because it's a meaningless title for my competition. I once won a game of Pretty Pretty Princess. Does that mean that I get to call myself an actual princess from here on out? The flowers ask Alice to explain her status as a wildflower, but then immediately cut her off before she can say more than 8 words. I'm not kidding about that number. They call her too ugly to be a flower, which I suppose is fair considering that she's literally not a flower. The king shows up, another flower. He introduces himself as King Crim and that his daughters are actually princesses. When King Crim bows to queen, Alice. Her friends follow suit and bow to her as well, trying to make her title as queen seem legitimate. Krim goes on to say that it's been so long since anybody last got to their checkpoint that the last time it was a woman who had left something behind and was certain that her daughter would eventually follow her into Wonderland. Alice asks where Wonderland is, but Krim laughs and tells them that they're in Wonderland already, that this is the 8th square and the entrance to Wonderland. However, both Chess and Alice seem to be of the opinion that they're being lied to. I have no idea why they're of this opinion, since literally nothing in the narration has indicated that Chess feels uneasy again, but that's the end of the chapter, so I guess we'll find out more later. Chapter 27. We open the chapter with Alice randomly deciding that Krim is a phony king, but what's worse is that she also thinks that he's connected to Scarlet and Dina as well. Where she got that info is in, oh, who am I kidding? Say it with me, folks. Magical Mary Sue guessing powers. However, there's still about 100 pages left of this infernal book. They can't simply go into Wonderland without resolving everything. Oh no, don't be silly. Instead, Krim tells them that they should rest up before continuing on, so he asks 2 flower servants to show them to a room. Once alone, Maddie turns and expresses that she feels like this is a trap. Alice agrees, but says that the best thing to do is to try and be one step ahead of these flowers, by using Sophia's words of wisdom. The others are confused about this since Sophia was left behind, but Alice seems to think that her mom's next clue will be around there somewhere. How we got to that point is beyond me, but whatever. They go off in search of the magical looking glass, but fail to find anything, simply wandering around. Eventually, they decide to split off into groups of 2, which naturally include having Chess and Alice be alone. However, Willow calls him out, which randomly upsets Alice for some reason. I thought that Alice wanted to be in a romantic relationship with him, but now she seems to be getting upset at the thought of being alone with him, or maybe it's embarrassment over the idea of being caught red-handed. Who knows? She runs off in a huff, but Maddie chases after her. Alice rounds on her friend, even though the narration admits before Alice starts chewing Maddie out that Maddie doesn't deserve her anger. But Maddie chases after Alice to point out that somebody is singing. They look around and eventually find another looking glass. Chapter 28. This is absurd. Why must girls always jump to conclusions? Chess, if you're frustrated with girls who jump to conclusions, have I got some bad news for you about your girlfriend. Stark and Chess wander around for a while before they come upon an entire flock of Jabberwock flying in the sky. Chess is obviously terrified at the prospect that there's not only more than one, but so many of them. But then Stark comes up with an idea, that they've been drilled that the Jabberwock is a reflection of what you fear the most. What if there are so many because there's one for every single Wonderlander? Furthermore, what if the reason why the 4 challenge is so hard to face and it's so difficult to get into the actual Wonderland is because people are terrified of finding out the actual truth? And while I'm down with that line of thinking, I refuse to accept that every single person has been that afraid of uncovering what the real Wonderland has in store for them. After all, there are so many people who went missing during the trials. Some of them might have made it through, and that's why they've disappeared. However, the book refuses to acknowledge this, so I will address it no further. Stark then says that he had a lot of time to think about things while he was trapped on the train for the past year. He goes on to say that while he was there, he saw what actually happened to Chess and Kit right before Kit went missing. Chess doesn't really want to hear it, mainly because he thinks that he was cowardly and abandoned his brother. But the actual truth is that a Jabberwock had the Shire brothers cornered. Chess risked his own life to try and lure the creature away so that his brother could escape in one piece. As Chess mulls over this new info, a new thought occurs to him. If the train goes in a loop, they could simply catch the train again and get off at the right time. However, aren't they already in the 8th Infernal Square? I'm confused about this line of thinking. At the end of the chapter, Tress trips and falls into liquid silver, much like the looking glasses that Alice keeps entering. Thanks for listening to my Book Snark on YouTube. New videos are up every Monday, but stick around because I sometimes drop random videos on other days too. Just as a reminder, even if you can't financially support me, there are other ways to help me out. The first is watching this video as well as all my other videos. It's also important to like and subscribe. Finally, you can share this video with all of your friends so that they can help as well. If you're already caught up with all of my videos, you can go to Tumblr for my main book Snarks, always free and updated every morning. Newly added to Patreon is to become a member without paying. You'll get access to the same thing as Tumblr, but on Patreon. Supporters can have access to so many more book Snarks starting at $1 a month. Also new is a 1-week free Patreon trial, so be sure to check that out. Special thanks to Dawn, Phoebe, and Nikki for supporting me on Patreon already. If you want to hear your name in my video next week, either support me on Patreon or make a one-time donation. Do you like my Snark so much that you want me to snark your writing? I do that too. For just $6 per chapter, I will tell you how awful that your writing is. But not to worry if you feel like you couldn't take the criticism. I also offer regular book editing as well, just $10 per chapter. You can contact me on any of my social media platforms if you have further questions. If you want to read some of the things that I've written, you can purchase my works on Amazon. I have a slew of spicy short stories and 2 full-length novels. I also frequently run flash tales on my stories, so if you don't follow me on any social media, you might want to do so just so you can know when I might be offering things for free. Links for everything will be posted below. See you next week, guys!